talk to NASCAR yesterday? Hello, welcome.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Just came in to ask you what you meant by the vasectomies
That we should mandate vasectomies for men at age 15.
at 15.
Yeah.
Do you understand the reversal rate of a vasectomy?
Yeah, it's about 92%.
Within the first year. Once you get about three
No,
years out,
that's
that
incorrect. They
vasectomy rate
actually do,
drops by about
they
70%. By
actually
about
can
the
be
time that you
reversed.
get to 18 years old, by the time you get to 18, it's a 70% reversal rate, and then it drops off significantly after that. So when you
That's
tell
incorrect.
men to have
My uncle
vasectomies
had
and
two
mandate, no, no, no,
vasectomies,
no,
two
no, no, no.
reversals,
Okay,
and had a
listen, you
child.
wanted me to talk to
And
you,
then
I'm going to
if
talk
you
to you. But
also
first and
want,
foremost,
no,
do
you're
not
just
tell me
talking,
this
so I'm trying to annoy
92%.
you by continuing to talk over you. Like, and
You are talking,
you're
okay,
falling into the
so
trap very
this is, so
easily.
let me get this
If
straight.
that's your main
You
concern, we
literally
can
just,
also take
here we
the
go with this.
specimen of them at their age
I
and then
can
freeze
read
them
the
so we can make it
comments
available
on
to them
this.
when they're later.
Okay, you want to change minds? Okay, I'm pro-choice, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to say that that means that every single woman out there should then say, oh yeah, let's mandate vasectomies. They already tried that in
I actually don't want to mandate vasectomies. It is an argument to highlight the hypocrisy of men
the
who want
hypocrisy
to
of men.
reduce
Hypocrisy
abortion.
of what exactly?
That men who are pro-life want rules and laws regarding regulating a woman's body, that when I propose laws regulating a man's body, they're like, no, 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 my bodily autonomy.
Your bodily autonomy is not in question right now. Okay? No one here
When
is
it comes to
questioning
the
that.
reversal of Roe v. Wade and the states making laws regulating abortion and
And they've
making barriers,
already
it
decided
absolutely
to
does.
start making those laws public. We've already had dozens of men come out and say that they were going to allow pro-choice. But every single time that I turn on any social media app, I will find dozens of women. And in fact, if we look at the comments right here, how many of these ladies right here are talking about, oh, he must be MRA, he must be MGTOW, he must be this, that,
Why,
and the other.
why do the comments
The
bother you
only
so
reason that
much?
the only reason that those
Why do the
comments are
comments
coming
bother
up
you
is
so
because
much?
it is allowed
Why do the
to be
comments bother you
active.
so much? Why do the comments bother you so much?
Oh, I'm not pro-choice. No, I am
Why do the
pro-choice.
comments
I
bother you
just
so
don't.
much?
Among other things, the constant abuse that goes on. You talk about the trauma that women go through. There
Why
are
do
just as
the
many men
comments
who have been
bother you so
traumatized
much?
throughout life.
Why do the comments bother you so much?
Uh, are you reading these?
Yeah, I go live a lot. I assure you, the comments say shitty things about me too. Like, why do they bother you so much?
Among other things, why is
If
it
they do
okay?
bother you so much, like, why don't you just log off? Because then they stop,
Yeah, and then
and then
log
you don't have
off
to
and
read
then
them.
okay, all right. Let's try this. Okay. Trying to speak to somebody, to a stranger, and getting other strangers heckling you or otherwise treating you like shit eventually deteriorates your mental capacity. Okay. And let's be
Then
frank,
swipe left and turn the comments off.
by angry man. You know what?
If you can't deal with it, that's fine. You
To
can
those
log off.
individuals who are speaking
But
like
you're not
this,
like they're not
I
gonna.
am sorry. I am sorry.
You're actually feeding them by giving them attention.
Well, if that's the case, then I will talk to you and you alone.
Great. It might be helpful for you if I believe you swipe left, the comments will go away and you don't even have to
Mm-hmm.
see them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just did. So
Great.
when you talk about
Glad I could
mandatory
help you with that.
vasectomies or anything else, highlighting the hypocrisy of all this other stuff, I just can't stand the fact that this is how these hecklers feed into each other. They literally have nothing else to do other than act that way. They can't talk to other people. And that is what pisses me off. So I apologize for that. But let's be very clear. The Supreme Court made this decision, and some people will say it's a bad decision.
It is a bad
But
decision.
arguing in bad faith the opposite way and demanding, oh, we're going to show their hypocrisy. Some of these states might actually do it. Okay. And
Right.
we
And
all
so
know
that's
at
why
least
men like you, men who claim to be pro-choice, should be concerned.
I'm concerned about the fact that every single time that I speak on the matter, I am instantly doubted. I have to prove that I'm somehow, quote unquote, safe. Otherwise, if I'm not
So
safe, then
how
I'm
do
going to be heckled.
well, so let me ask you, how do you treat a gun?
How do I treat a gun?
Yeah.
Please explain. Please verify
So
what you're talking about.
I treat a gun like it's loaded so that I can make sure that if it is loaded, it's still safe.
You clear
So
the gun.
well, but that's how you treat a gun, correct? Like that's what they teach you when it comes to how to manage a gun, that you always treat it like it's loaded. Even when
No,
it's not loaded,
no,
you don't point
no.
it at other
First,
people.
first rule is to clear a weapon before you ever handle the weapon. Second rule is to treat as if it were loaded. Third rule is to
Great.
never aim it
Great.
at a
So
living
you
person
agree with
unless you're
me.
ready
We
to pull the
treat it
trigger.
like it is loaded. That is how a lot of women treat men.
And then, okay, so if they want to treat men that way, then men should treat women like loaded guns. Is that what we should do?
No, because men exhibit violence and oppression towards women in this white patriarchal society.
Okay, how do they do that? Because realistically, at this point, you
Can
just
you
saw
tell me
all of those
what
comments. You just
percentage
saw
of
all of those
SA
comments. You
is
just saw
done
all of
by
those
men?
comments. They are treating me like a loaded gun. Okay, I will treat them like a loaded gun. Equal rights, yes?
It's not about equal rights in my loaded gun analogy. It's about women treating men as if they are loaded guns so that they can stay safe.
So should a man treat a
Because when
woman
it
as a
becomes,
loaded gun
wait,
so
wait,
they
wait,
can
let
stay
me
safe?
expand. Can you tell me what percentage of sexual assault is done by men?
Which one? Reference a number for me, please.
When it comes to sexual assault, if we look at the demographics of people who commit sexual assault, what percentage is men?
So okay, wait. Sexual harassment, sexual assault, domestic violence. Which one are we going with here? Because I need to know
Let's
where
say R
exactly
word
we're
and
going.
sexual assault.
Okay, sexual assault. As far as I'm aware of, is that 1 in 3 women will be sexually assaulted throughout their lifetime.
That's not my question. What percentage of people who commit sexual assault are men?
We don't have definable statistics for that.
Really, because I have it up right here.
What is it?
99% of all perpetrators are male.
99% of perpetrators are male. Why?
Correct. You tell me.
Why? Does it give a why?
Well, I believe that it's due to toxic masculinity, but you must recognize that when it comes to violence, that men typically commit violence towards women at a higher degree than the
Are
other
we?
way
Oh,
around.
okay, wait. We're talking. Are we talking about sexual assault, or are we talking about? Are we talking about violence through sex, through a sexual coercion? Is that what you're? Which,
How are those
because
different?
there's several different
How are
clarifications. I mean,
those
I'm sorry.
different?
Just I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand where you're going with that, because the
The
statistics
thing
you're
that
saying
I'm
are
trying to
for.
highlight to you is that women fear men because of how we are treated in society.
Okay,
So
and you
that's
think
why
men are not
women
afraid
treat
of the way
men
women
like a
treat them?
loaded gun because
And you
we
think
don't
men are
know
not
if
afraid
you are
of
a
women?
safe man or a dangerous man. Like you really don't know that?
Okay. To make it very clear for you, and I'm sure all of your listeners, the way I was raised up to always have respect for women. I
Really?
can't
Did you
speak
came in
for
here
I
over talking me?
I'm sorry?
Because you came in here over talking and yelling at me.
I was upset with your analogies. Yes, that's true.
Great. Continue.
So I apologize that I was upset. I apologize for that. But it does upset me when somebody decides to make that sort of analogy and not allow for looking at it from another lens. I do apologize for that. And then yes, the comments did eat at me, and I'm sure that they love that, but that is on them. The way I respond to that is my own. So I apologize for talking over you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So to be fair, when you say women are afraid of men being violent against them, I can understand that. I agree with that. As
Right.
a romance reader, yes, I've read it very often. As a man who has spoken with many women throughout my lifetime, I am very familiar with men being violent towards women. Myself personally, I was always taught to respect a woman first, and then, of course, turn around and also be. Women have an amazing ability today to literally ostracize and damage a man just by word of mouth. And it's not as open, it's not out in the clear as often. Yes or no? Do you disagree?
I do disagree
Okay.
because
All
less
right.
than 3% of claims against men are false.
Less than 3%. Okay. Wait. Less than 3% of the claims that women make against men.
Correct.
How many of the claims of women committing violence against men are found to be false?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Why is that important? Do you realize, let me ask you, do you think in today's society that, just as a general statement, that men are the oppressor and women are being oppressed?
Oppressor. Honestly, I don't. Oppression, in my opinion, is a. I'm going to say it like this. If you have to go with the law, then I would say that right now the laws are in flux. So I can't speak for an oppressor. What I can say is that corporations largely are in charge. Our politicians are pretty much full of crud where it comes
Okay,
to promises.
let's go to our politics. Would you say that we live in a white patriarchal society? Are you there?
I'm sorry. As a neurodivergent, I'm just trying to think through this logically.
Sure.
The banks, in particular, I would say especially, are under white people. So I would have to say that yes, white men do own the banks at this time,
What about
with
in
a few
politics?
exceptions.
What about in politics?
The politics goes where the money goes.
So if we look at, let's say, like who our presidents are, how many were white men?
Of the
Of
well,
all,
yeah,
of all of
yeah,
them,
all but one.
all but one. Great. And if we look at like Congress, what percentage of Congress is women?
Last I saw was like 10%, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so we're at 24%, so a little bit higher.
Okay, all right.
So when it comes to our, the people who have power, you would agree that that's men and predominantly white men.
Outside of the minority caucuses, I would have to say, yeah. Well, it may be closer to a 60-40 split now.
In terms of what?
In terms of like the numbers of BIPOC and uh, lady woman or uterus having representation, I would say it's closer to 60-40, at least in the House.
In the House. So only 24% of Congress is female. Oh, so you just want to talk about the House. Okay. So
No, no,
you
no,
recognize,
no. Absolutely. I mean, if the Senate has got, I haven't kept up on the Senate. How many Senate members are lady are uterus having? Excuse me. I'm trying to use the politically correct terminology. How many of the Senate are lady or BIPOC?
so you do recognize that when it comes to the presidency, that all have been men and only one has not been white. That when
Yes.
it comes to Congress, only 24% are women. And
Yes.
I'm going to look up the race here in a second. And then, so when it comes to wealth, if we were to look at like the 10 richest people, what demographic would you say they make up?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
When it comes to wealth, if we were going to look at the 10 richest people, what demographic would you say they fall into?
I would assume that they would probably be from a European ancestry.
Would you say that they're white men?
Well, yeah, white.
Yeah,
If you want to lump all Europeans under white, you can.
great. So when it comes to wealth, we see white men. When it comes to power, we see white men. So would it be safe to say that we live in a white patriarchal society? That's who's running.
The basis of it.
Great. And would you say that that type of structure is trying to sustain itself so that predominantly men who are white maintain their power and maintain their wealth, and therefore they are
Those who
oppressing,
can keep it. Those who can keep it.
and therefore they are oppressing women, the BIPOC, and the LGBTQ community.
And also the rest of us. But yeah.
Great. So
I mean,
when I say that women treat men
y'all think that
like
white men,
a
y'all
loaded
think that
gun,
all white men have all the power. I mean, realistically, I'm going to be honest with you.
I never said
I
all. And honestly, when I say men, you saying not all men is not a good argument for you.
Okay. Here's the thing. If you're going to say all men,
I
then I
didn't say
could
all
just
men.
as easily say all women. You
I
say
didn't
treat
say all
all men
men.
like
I said
loaded
men.
guns. I'll treat all
Yes,
women like
absolutely.
loaded guns. But that's
Why?
not.
What do
But that's not
women do? What do women do to you?
what. Well, okay,
What
wait.
do
What
women do to men? Like that so
women?
that's my whole
What do
point,
women do
is
to men?
that men are the oppressor and women are being oppressed. So that's why we treat men like loaded guns.
So
The reason it
I'm
doesn't
sorry. I'm
work
sorry.
the other way
I
around
accidentally
is
flipped right
because
to
men
see
are the
what women were
oppressors.
saying, and I flipped right to see what some of the commenters were saying, and I'm seeing some of them saying I'm what is it that I'm trying to be the victim here? Okay. All right.
And it does feel like men's rights advocate like vibes.
Men's rights advocates vibes. Okay.
Activist vibes, sorry.
Well, for one, I'm not an activist.
Well, I'm not saying that's what you are. I'm saying that's the vibes that you're giving.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the problem with that is that everybody sees this through an activist lens and not a person lens. I'm not standing on the street right now doing this just for. I'm actually just trying to talk to you.
Again,
So
no one is
when
saying
you,
that you are an activist. We are saying that the vibes you are giving us are very similar to a men's rights activist.
okay, that's fine and dandy, except it's factually incorrect. I am not an MRA. I'm not a MGTOW. I'm not red pill.
We aren't saying that
I
you
don't
are.
follow Reddit,
We're
and I
saying that
don't.
we get the same vibes.
You get the same vibes, and that's how you judge a man.
Well, we are essentially judging you based on the things that you say, not
Okay.
simply because you're a man. And the things that you are saying, the things that you are
Literally
saying
the things that you have been
don't
saying
sound
have
very
been
great,
feeding
just to be
that.
honest with you.
But the things that you're saying are feeding that, and the things that they say feed that.
Really, what
Now,
am I saying that feeds that?
okay, you asked me, what do women do to men?
Yeah, how do women oppress men?
No, no, no. What do women do to men? How
Well,
do women?
let me be more
Can
specific so
can
you
a
know the
woman
question that I can tell you.
can a woman undermine a man?
That is not oppression.
That okay? That's not oppression. Okay, so that's just
Are you
manipulation and
are
gaslight.
you familiar with toxic masculinity?
I've read about it.
What would you say it is?
From what I've read is that it's a misogyny. You hate women. You treat women like objects. You do not believe that you do not believe that they have the same rights as men, nor that they deserve the same rights as men.
No, I mean misogyny is an element of it, but toxic masculinity can also be it is also very harmful for men. So I'm wondering when someone says toxic masculinity, what like behaviors or characteristics would you think a person who has that possesses?
Um, okay, I've only ever seen what some of this stuff has been shared on podcasts and bro podcasts from other uh, various avenues. So all I've ever seen was stuff that was basically demeaning of women and of their person.
So, toxic masculinity is typically there are four behavioral traits, which are stoicism, competitiveness, aggression, and dominance. And when society views that these personalities or these behaviors is what makes someone masculine, that's not only toxic to the person who possesses them, but toxic to the people around them. So, especially when it comes to aggression and dominance, we are seeing men predominantly exert those types of behaviors towards women. I mean, honestly, all four in terms of like stoicism and
No, I'm
competitiveness,
not on
especially in
bro
the
podcast,
workplace.
and I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan, so you can stop that.
So ultimately, it's this construction of what a man should be that puts them in a position that has put men into a category that makes it more likely that they exert misogyny because that is an element of aggression and dominance. And this has been very hurtful to women for a long time,
And it's
which
been
is why
hurtful to
women
me.
treat men as if they are a loaded gun because we don't
And,
know if you're
and
loaded or not. So we'd rather
and
err on the side of caution than just assume that you're one of the good guys.
yeah, well, proving yourself as one of the good guys also requires that you then have to, as you say, be stoic and ignore everything that all of these individuals are saying, like snip nuts, snip nuts, snip snip. Okay.
No,
So
not even to
what
be
would
stoic at all. Honestly,
either
empathy would be one of the best tools that a man could have when it comes to actually listening and
and
understanding the position that
showing
women are in.
and showing empathy for somebody else requires that you also be able to have empathy across genders. Yes.
I mean, it doesn't have to be gender specific, but just in general.
In general. Okay. Now, let me get this straight. So you want men to have empathy for women. Yes?
For people, because men also do exert their toxic masculinity over other men, especially in the workplace, which is why typically a lot of male dominated occupations are very toxic.
I love how it having empathy and having that is fine. But if you're going to constantly treat people like the commenters would, then it doesn't surprise me that the mob mentality is back.
I don't know again, like why you are so focused on the comments. Like I've even told you, like they say shitty things to me too. Like you are not special in that. You're not. Like
It's not about it's not it makes me shake my head because I after the initial blow up and the argument, you actually are addressing me and asking me questions, and I'm asking you questions. They apparently don't seem to want to do that, which speaks volumes for their character. So
well, they really
I'm
can't have a
grateful to have this
dialogue with
conversation
you.
with
They
you.
really can't have a dialogue with you. But again, like if you want to judge society based on the comments of a live, that's fine. It just, again, it's not really foundational in what we're talking about.
Well, what we're talking about right now, when you spoke of, like I said, the vasectomies thing, I don't believe that women. I absolutely believe that women have a choice in this matter. But I would like to ask that you also recognize that men don't get, especially men who are not in power. I am not in power. These men that you're speaking with, we're not in power. How are we? I mean, and even when we do
Through your
post up or
allyship,
try to
through
show
your
support,
allyship, 100, through your allyship.
and yet what is that allyship supposed to entail? Because half the time, no, more than half the time, it is no uterus, no opinion, or just shut the hell up. That's what they say. I mean, how are we supposed to show allyship? How are we supposed to show we're safe if a dozen times over they're going to keep on saying, no, you don't actually mean that. This is what you
If
mean.
you take offense to that, then you are not an ally. Because I will tell you, while I think that cis het white men are in chair one, I recognize that as a cis het white woman, I am in chair two. That I have more privilege than I have oppression. Pretty much the only marginalization I've had is due to my gender. And so when I hear the BIPOC community or when I hear the LGBTQ community speak poorly of other cis het white women, I don't take offense to it because I know I'm not them. I ask them, what can I do? And please tell me if there's anything that I do that I might not be aware of that would marginalize or oppress you, because I recognize that in the society that I live in, I might have, why can't I think of the word? Implicit racism, or I'm unaware of certain racist things that I think, or unaware of certain homophobic things that I think. And I'm willing to be open to that and address that. So if you take offense for women saying men do this and you just cry, well, not all men, then you are a part of the problem.
Okay. All right. Curious.
All right.
I'm just very curious about it because,
Okay. If
frankly,
you would
it
like to
just
follow, I do post a little on.
I find it curious that when people talk about it and they say that they're being oppressed, and okay, if
All
you
right.
want to go down to oppression,
May,
if
may
you want
I
to,
ask you, are you a cisgendered heterosexual white man?
I identify as I'm neurodivergent and I identify as demisexual, but yeah, if you want to go with cishet white men, just go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Well, I'm asking you because I don't like if that's what you identify as. I just want to make sure. So you are a
What
heterosexual.
I
Because
identify as,
I would say like I'm a sapiosexual for sure, but that's still I am still heterosexual and cis.
right. Well, cis. I mean, you saying identify as male? Yeah, I'm cis in that regard. And do I am I attracted to predominantly women? Yes. I'm not.
Okay.
I can admit that I can admit, but I'm demisexual and sapiosexual. Not so much. I mean, I can hold. I enjoy learning from other people. I enjoy science. I enjoy learning about history. But that's my shit. That's my
Okay.
place. It's that area.
So go ahead and finish your point
No, it's
before.
okay. It's all right. It's all right. It just
Well,
I
I was
like
just
I
going to
said
say that
earlier.
possibly because you fall into that demographic that you may not understand the other community's oppression because you don't experience it, because you do live
I
in a
don't.
society that typically you do receive better outcomes.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't receive
Mhm.
better outcomes. I often get passed up,
Typically.
and in my case, it's very much a true case. I get passed over. I get ignored, or I
So,
get mocked.
when you get pulled over, are you afraid of dying?
Yes.
Wow. So you're afraid the police will shoot you for getting when you get pulled
Yeah.
over?
If I
Why?
make the wrong move, yeah.
Why?
So I keep my hands on the steering wheel and I address them as sir or ma'am, and I do my civic duty. I do what I do.
Oh, so
I
you
was
think complying is a civic duty? Okay. When you walk into a gas station, do people automatically assume you're there to steal?
I when I walk into gas stations, typically is very rare. I unless I was doing my security work, which I quit my job a couple of months back because I had to.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
As far as like the gender roles, do you feel that what exactly was that gender role thing about?
I don't think gender roles should exist. And a predominant barrier that women face in what I view America is to be systemically sexist is due to gender roles.
Okay, I in that regard I disagree because in my experience throughout what I've seen, typically gender roles were already established long before we ever had the United States of America and long before we ever had any of the rest. Um, in my
Right, but
experience,
I think they are
the gender
maintained
roles are
to
intended
uphold.
to are usually it sticks that women are often much more nurturing, much more able to teach, at least to those who are up and coming.
Why?
Men specifically seem to always fall under apprenticeships or hands-on training. It just seems to always fall into that demographic. So
No, that's not true. Again, that's due to gender roles and essentially saying that women are good at this, men are good at this, and people buying into that type of ideology. What biological qualities do women have that make them more nurturing and better teachers?
well, I see. Oh, hang on. I see a bunch of. Okay, you know what? Apparently, I'm boring people, so I'm gonna leave you be.
All right. All right.
But thanks a
Bye.
lot, Miss Kenzie. God bless.
You're welcome. Hey, Republic.
That was interesting.
That's nice. That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice commando, not mean commando anymore.
Aw, I love a good sassy co-host.